Welcome to the GRUUL clans. We're multiple clans about fighting, growth, nature, instinct, and destroying civilization. We hate guilds because they form a civilization. We will bring them down. That's why we only came by for a video, because we were the first of the opposing guilds. We're mostly against the Orzhov, the Mir, and the Azorius. Our colors are red because we do what we want, we act on impulse, and we are free from the city. We have a passion for the cause of destroying the city and will not be tamed. We are also green. We are strong, we respect nature and give it the space it needs to grow. And we follow our instincts. Our ancestors are important to us because their stories inspire us, and we hope to make huge stories about ourselves today. Together, our colors stand for fighting civilization, growing until we can use our rage and destroy, and we especially stand for not thinking. You already know what to do, so why not just do it? The GRUUL guild was made to watch over the heart of the wild of Ravnica. But over time, the GRUUL guild dissolved into clans, because the wilds became less and less important for most pebble feet. The GRUUL kept to their ways, not adapting to the machinations of Ravnica city. The Orzhov stood directly against the GRUUL, and with the help of the Dimir and the Azorius, they kept the GRUUL out of the game while granting control over nature to Selesnya and the Simic. The GRUUL then became the opposing guild, born into battle against the planning guilds. The GRUUL mostly believe that sentience and planning are the sources of evil. It has been keeping them down, because they were just keeping to their old ways, while the planning guilds planned to keep the GRUUL outside of their worldviews. This made the GRUUL the anarch guilds, clawing to escape into freedom. A side note, the GRUUL also rule over beggars, poor people and general misfits of society. Where they fall outside of the guilds that require you to be powerful, the GRUUL often attract people that feel like they've been held down by the current guilds in power. This has nothing to do with the GRUUL purpose, but is a result of the current standings and relations of Ravnica. More on that in a later video. In order to join the GRUUL, you have to free yourself of your shackles. So forget everything. Be a goldfish. Put your screen on full screen and let's see what happens. Or don't do any of those things, leave your screens behind and never return to our current society. That's fine too, as long as you keep your GRUUL spirit. You're part of this guild. The GRUUL aren't really a guild. They're a collection of clans. Let's visit them one by one. We start with the biggest clan, because we value size and strength. The Burning Tree clan is the clan that brought the GRUUL its sigil. Or at least the other guilds can't imagine a guild as divided as the GRUUL, and have started to think of the Burning Tree clan as the actual GRUUL guild. This is also why the Tree clan is mostly asked to speak for the guild. Of course, this means that only a ninth of the guild partially keeps themselves to the agreements made by the Burning Tree emissaries. Because of this, the emissaries aren't really respected by city dwellers, and once they're disrespected, they react like a true GRUUL member, burning down the houses of anyone that tries to disrespect them. The biggest clan is ruled by the biggest Cyclops, Borborygmos. He leads the clans towards attacking whoever tries to hold the GRUUL down. This makes him an excellent GRUUL leader because he uses his offense to defend the guild. This is as close to a defense the GRUUL will get. Borborygmos is now seen as the guild master, but there used to be a true guild master, Caesarsim, Lord of Chaos. He had been rather quickly taken down, and part of him lived on for a moment as the body of the Golgari Perun. That's why we'll focus on the living now. Borbor, according to a deceased guildmaster, gives out two orders: crush them and eat them. In Wreak Havoc, Borbor is quoted with crush them in the flavor, a spell that destroys your buildings. And Borbor mistook Protean Hulk for Protein Hulk, and saw its eggs and meat before giving his second order, we eat. Two beautiful notes to our leader's two orders from his first flavor. Bor isn't really the leader, he's just the biggest. which seems like the same to the GRUUL. But Borborygmos gave up a lot of respect when he came to a guild meeting out of respect for Niv Mizzet. Bor was shortly dethroned by Domri Raid, but resumed his leadership after his fight against the Phyrexians. In Uncivil Unrest, we see some of the GRUUL getting incited into just fighting whoever. Their riot mechanic of entering with a counter or haste being used in a card from March of the Machine. But we can see, when we look closer, that the GRUUL are not turned Phyrexian. And the Phyrexian with the whip is probably a follower from Urabrask, when you think about it. The Praetor of Freedom coming to help out the free clans is a beautiful piece of art. But Borbor took most of the shine. Being large enough to fight off some of the roots of the invasion tree, Borbor, being a Cyclops, has only one eye. But together with Fubblethub, they had enough eyes to cover all sides, namely 2. After the invasion, the GRUUL could reclaim many lands from the chaos that was brought. The GRUUL also actively work against efforts to rebuild Ravnica. While Bor fought to defend Ravnica as a world, he still fights against it being a city. More strength for the GRUUL also means more infighting. The GRUUL nowadays get their way through getting the opportunity to focus on fighting each other. But I have something to explain about Borborygmos becoming dethroned from a moment before. Because another member of another GRUUL clan, the Surta, defeated Bor in battle. Domri Raid defeated him, and Domri is as small as a toothpick to Borborygmos. Let's explain how Domri did it. He is an orphan. His only friends were the beasts who lived in the ruins he called home. This relationship with the wilds taught him to summon animals. Domri, as an oppressed orphan, respected the GRUUL for fighting back against the oppressors. So, he dreamed of becoming GRUUL as much as he dreaded the initiation process, called the burying. It should release the GRUUL from attachment to life within the city, from being a slave to rules, and it would represent the destructive nature of nature. Everyone undergoing the burying will be reborn as a GRUUL, closer to the roots of the old nature. Closeness to death for a GRUUL means the clarity of their purpose and seeing the futility of rules, together with more vitality in life. Domri was led by a shaman to be buried without much explanation, because thinking is for the Azorius, and Domri planeswalked to Naya under the pressure of being alone in the dirt. When Domri got back, the shamans of the burying didn't understand what had happened, but that was not their task. The wilds had freed Domri from the ground, apparently. The shaman said, "As long as you keep your spirit, you are GRUUL." When we next saw Domri, his spirit got crushed. Bolas had manipulated Domri into defeating Borborygmos. Borborygmos lost the GRUUL respect, and Domri became the GRUUL leader. The GRUUL never thought Domri's sudden rise in power was set up. Most of them thought it was meant to be. Domri's clan, the Surta, even thought it was a sign from the old gods, like the race boar Ilhark. Especially since Domri worked with boars, as you can see in his art and in his ultimate. His second ability could even find Ilhark himself. In his abilities we see a GRUUL leader building up. And in his next card we see him using up all of his resources to spread chaos, focusing on having his creatures fight the others. At first, Domri attacked the Eternals of Bolas together with the GRUUL, but already he was happy whenever the invaders destroyed Celestian property. Then Domri turned against the Alliance, because Bolas wanted chaos just like the GRUUL did. Domri had sided with the evil dragon. Domri commanded the GRUUL, a massive amount of birds, and even more raging boars to attack the other guilds where it hurt. Domri was held back only a moment before he brought in a ruin elemental that got exploded in another moment by Ralzarak. Domri could dodge the lightning from Ralzarak, but couldn't win a fight against the Minotaur afterwards. He then ran off and didn't do much with the rest of his life. Because soon after Domri's fight, Bolas started harvesting sparks and killed Domri the Planeswalker. Domri really meant nothing to the dragon, but Domri is not unhappy with his choices. He died doing something he loved, and in a way, we can believe that he brought back Ilhark the race boar for his clan. The Surta clan is otherwise known as the clan of the Skull Bleachers. These are the religious GRUUL who follow the old ways. They're most in touch with animals, friends that don't stab them in the back out of respect for each other, or so they say. The Surta worship gods and don't believe in petty, unfocused raids, but in one massive end race. Raising the cities is a religious activity meant to bring back the old gods of nature. Nikya is the usual leader of the Surta. She teaches about the old ways. She is a wise warrior and a strong shaman whose strongest side is her magic. It lets her summon roots from the deep crust of Ravnica. She can do this because she is in touch with any old wildness. The roots want to erupt out of the earth because they want to destroy Ravnica for Nikya. Nikya even stopped the Phyrexianized Golgari purely by holding the legions of zombies and GRUUL in the ground with her roots. Weirdly, Nikya stops you from using magic. Her card focuses on helping you cast creatures. Perhaps you could say that the doubling of mana is her magic and she just focuses on bringing creatures into their wild strength. Nikya and the Surta believe that civilization will end once Ilharg returns, and then by his trampling, every stone becomes a pebble and every pebble becomes dust. In the story, we learn about the Surta from a Celestian. Ruzi was one whose sister was killed by the Rakdos. The Azorius would do nothing against them because Massacre Girl was involved and she was too dangerous for any Azorius. The Celestians would never allow a vengeance killing, so Ruzi went for Nikya and the Surta. Nikya recognized the fact that a GRUUL member was killed in the massacre for her blood crime against the GRUUL and promised to slaughter all the Rakdos. Then, Kal, a GRUUL shaman from the Surta, had to watch the Izzet and he learned about the massacre on the Celestians. Kal followed the GRUUL into Rakdos territory, disobeying orders to watch the Izzet. A fight broke out and the Rakdos had demons on their side, so in order to protect his friends, Kal conjured not GRUUL fire but Izzet lightning. And that was how the GRUUL embraced lightning magic as their own. We know about Ilharg, but he's just one god of many that the Surta believe in. Ilharg shows that he brings in creatures with him, showing us how the GRUUL often work. Ilharg tramples in front and many boar and other GRUUL follow him into battle trampling with him. We don't know much else about this god other than that he can be returned when you wait long enough. So civilization will be trampled over multiple times. Ilharg mostly has this ability because he had to fill in the void Azeroth left behind. All of the other colors had their Amonkhet gods become a god eternal, and it would feel weird if there was not a red god. So Ilharg, the most important GRUUL god, became a creature card without much explanation about his resurrection. A new god that we learn about is Anzrak the Guacamole. This earthquake mole is thematic for the GRUUL. For one, he can't really be stopped, or if you do, he gets to attack with his team again. Secondly, Anzrak has 8 power and almost no toughness. Disregard for your own life is very much like the GRUUL. And through digging through the ground, Anzrak destroys the foundation of civilization. Digging through the ground and uprooting civilization and the ground itself also means that more plants can grow in Anzrak's quake. Other than Anzrak, we learn that there are more old gods and that one of them is called Utmunger and is one of the gods of the deep. It might also mean that Utmunger is the name of all deep gods. I have 3 more small clans before we get to the last huge one. The Skaab clan are the most violent. This guild was formed because of all the tortured and maimed people that kept joining the GRUUL guild. So many people are being tortured by the Orzhov and Dimir that they can then be formed into a clan. They're the perfect clan for Bloodthirst because they love to hurt the other guilds back for what they have done. The Skaab clan are led by Narbolg Ninefingers, who is a giant that likes to kill dragons. To the GRUUL, being blind or legless doesn't really matter as long as you can still destroy stuff. Then there's the Bulrak clan. They are giants, cyclops and ogres, all terms for big people. Because of their size and intelligence, they pick fights with anything smarter than them. People, buildings, other GRUUL in that order. And because there's always buildings near them, they always pick fights with buildings and people leave them alone. The Bulwark therefore tirelessly work on destroying whole building blocks and make sure that the city is always moving and being rebuilt. And we have the Gravelhide clan. This clan focuses on defense through making their skins become hard. This clan is led by Scorik Bouldertooth, whose name speaks of his actions. And the last small one, we have a bit of a weird clan for the GRUUL. There's one group of GRUUL members that are stealthy. It's the Slist clan. Most GRUUL don't really talk about them, as they use high ground and cover, which makes them cowards. Most GRUUL also don't come near places with high ground and cover because they are afraid of the Slist. And this title, the Rubble Belt, brings us to the last guild. The Gore clan, because this is the clan that most often lives in the Rubble Belt. The Rubble Belt is a ring around Ravnica city that is purely ground to rubble. It's made of buildings that are constantly being destroyed. The Gore clan often discuss the amount of building blocks they have destroyed after a day's work. The guild is led by Rurik and Thar, two ogres that are stuck together for life. They were also the maze runners for the GRUUL because they'd gained knowledge of the maze through Jace, who had tried to release the knowledge but accidentally implanted it on Thar. The two heads often fight each other and they find the word strategy to be too complicated. The Gore don't fight to reclaim territory or because they want revenge. They want revenge and territory so that they can find freedom. That's why the Gore love to camp so closely to the city instead of moving off to the free wildlands a bit further away. The Gore clan have to fight the city's borders so that freedom can live on behind them. Let's look at the last GRUUL story. It features Aris, a tattoo mage, who went to find Maka Poop in order to make his tattoos. Aris hoped to tattoo the giant Drysack, which would be a feat on the quickly regenerating giant. Tattoo artists are very important to the GRUUL, because the tattoos shine bright when the rage takes them. They have to pay a full Raktosk tail for the tattoos Aris makes. The Fiashino artist walks through the ruins left behind by Drysack and his crew so that he can tattoo it on his arm properly later. He sees Rurik, Thar and Drysack in a stacking match to see who makes the highest tribute to the race boar, and all the GRUUL around get the rage when Drysack wins. The Fiashino can't get his rage yet. He doesn't notice the tension like the other GRUUL do, and he doesn't get as angry. But after tattooing Drysack, the giant says that the rage speaks to different people in different ways. Soon after, Aris's clients burst out in flames and Aris is exiled by his clan, because apparently he had used the pupae of Makas with too little rage in them. And even deeper in the wilds, the rage still seems gone. Aris takes Proof with him to camp, where another giant has taken over his job as an artist. Aris asks her secret of her great ink. The giant respects Aris's art and helps him by bringing him to Celestian forests, where the ink you find there can even heal you. But Aris found out that the Celestian forests had been sapping mana from the GRUUL wilds. Aris then takes on his rage for the first time. He steps a whole bonfire of fire inside of him. He was angry at the last stories of his Fiashino people. Aris is set ablaze and this scares even Rurik and Thar into anger at the Celestians. Enough for a promise to make a story for Aris. Now you go on and live like every day is Rock Chav, the holiday where, according to the GRUUL, everything is permitted. Because to the GRUUL, every day is Rock Chav, and you should not be celebrating days on certain days. Choose your own days. Thank you for watching.